Hi everyone, my name is Margarita and I will be discussing the app called Explain Everything, how it ties into Bloom's taxonomy, and the uses for my own classroom. So what is Explain Everything? Explain Everything is available as an iPhone and Android app and also as a computer extension. That simulates an interactive whiteboard. A lot of the features are very similar to the features that you will find on Active Inspire, Promethean Board, and Flipchart software. Within the interactive whiteboard, students and teachers can record or narrate their phone screens while they type, handwrite things, draw things, insert clip art, images, videos, and even live web browsers. After users finish their creations, their final products can be really easily shared across a wide variety of platforms. There is even a native feature that allows it to be uploaded directly to YouTube. So what can it do? I actually created a video to kind of show you some of the features as I was discovering them on my own. Hi everyone, it's Margarita, and I'm going to narrate the main features of the app Explain Everything, which is also available as an extension. So if any of you have Chromebooks, you can use it that way as well. One of the first features that Explain Everything has is that you can go ahead and draw on the screen as you're narrating it. You can also choose the color layout and the color of your background if you want to choose that. Much like Active Inspire, if any of you use Promethean boards or flip charts in your room, is that you can enter shapes. So if you're narrating a story, you might want to point out something important, like I would probably always use the arrows. You can customize the color and kind of like the shadow and border of those shapes. Explain Everything also has a text function, so you can type as well on the screen while you're narrating or recording. This would probably be one of those functions that's easier to use on a laptop, but it's not impossible to use while you're speaking into the phone. I also think the drawing tool would probably be easier if students had like a stylus, as it's not really that accurate while using your finger. On the screen, you can also choose to insert your own photos, videos, or files. So, like if I were to insert a picture right now, I could just choose it from my phone's gallery and move it around. You can also use Explain Everything's clip art library that they have. They actually have a pretty wide range of clip art to use. One of the coolest features that I thought it had was that you can insert a browser window. So, like, let's say that you were maybe narrating a news story, you could actually type in the URL to your screen and pull up the article that you're talking about. So, for example, I just typed in CNN.com, and you can kind of customize the size of that window and move it around. On Explain Everything, they also have a cursor that you can use. So you can choose the like traditional computer style, laser pointer, or hand clicker. You can also like group and ungroup the items on the screen, which I thought was pretty cool, and like lock certain features so that they don't move around as much. You can also choose to like magnify a part of your screen and move it over if you need more room. So I could see this being really useful if you're making like a plot diagram. After you are done creating your Explain Everything, it's really easy to go ahead and save and upload to anywhere such as Google Classroom and YouTube. They do have a lot of built-in sharing features. Thanks for watching. So According to Bloom's digital taxonomy, explain everything actually hits a lot of the levels of Bloom's taxonomy. For example, creating, explain everything gives students a really great way to have a creative outlet and show their learning in a variety of different ways. It allows them to narrate things, animate, record themselves talking, draw, write, choose to type it out if they don't want to handwrite it. In terms of evaluating, after students create their own kind of explain everything creations, they can go ahead and share those on Google Classroom, where students can give each other effective feedback and kind of share their learning that way. They can also analyze each other's creations. Each student could be assigned like a different vocabulary term. In terms of applying, I think Explain Everything could be used to learn new terms in a different way, so students could illustrate what a certain vocabulary word meant instead of just memorizing the traditional dictionary definition of it, and it would kind of bring them to a deeper understanding of the word in a context versus just the word and its definition. And this would also help them kind of remember that new vocabulary in another way. So in terms of Explain Everything in the World Language Classroom, students could use it to create summaries of stories or biographies. They could use it to explain the main idea or event in a bigger body of text. I know for my Spanish for Spanish speakers class, when we do novels, it's really hard for them to kind of focus on such a large text, so you could use it to chunk those chapters or maybe smaller events. They could also use it to record their interpersonal conversations, and instead of just having them, record a one dynamic conversation, you could have them draw out what they're discussing, so it kind of adds another layer of understanding and it engages them more. And they could also use it to learn new vocabulary words whenever we do a new unit. Instead of just writing them on flashcards or using Quizlet, it would kind of challenge them to be able to use that word with a visual representation of it. Some of the advantages of Explain Everything: I think it's really engaging. I think it lets students be creative with the way they demonstrate their learning. I like that it's really easy to set up, start using, and that it can be shared so easily. Some of the disadvantages, if you're using it on a phone or smaller tablet, I don't really think the draw feature is really easy to use unless you have like a stylus. I also think it can allow students to get carried away with making their presentations so detailed, so the time would definitely need to be factored in there. And also the necessity of Explain Everything. While I do think it's great for certain uses, I don't know that I would use it all the time. If there are other simpler methods of getting students engaged and to be creative with their learning, that they don't have to be so detailed in. Thank you for listening.